open up compacted soil, it's going to be to fill a nutrient that's deficient, or it's going to be to shade the soil and hold it in place. Those are pretty much your three options, okay? So when you look at the type of weed you've got, you can tell the problem the lawn has. Just like that. Okay, so you kill the weed. Kill the weed, right? You got customers, you kill the weed. If you got your own lawn, you kill freaking weed. Get the weed out of the way. But if you don't address the underlying, you're just going to get it again. So if I take an area and it's always dry here, either the sprinklers don't hit it or whatever it is, whatever. It just is thin. I get all these weeds in, I kill it, but then the next year it's like a little bit bigger and there's a little more, and then you're like, just kill it again, and then it just keeps doing this, right? That's going to be the heat that's driving your grass away, and then the weeds trying to hold the soil in. It's like, don't kill me, I'm trying to keep this for you. As you get stronger turf, dense turf, not tall turf, there's a big difference, right? People look at things, they throw nitrogen out, they get this big flush of growth, they're like, yeah, my lawn's awesome, but it's not, because there's space for weeds. So we want more lateral, more grass to just really fill in down low, and then the weeds can't come up through it. So, I hate when people say it's like, well, a healthy lawn doesn't have weed. Well, obviously, it's because it's healthy. Yeah, right? But it's so much more than that. It's like the soil has to be fulfilled so that it's not looking for something that nature can provide, because you're not.
It's kind of like your meat and potatoes versus your sandwich.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that we've missed in the turf industry for so long is everybody focuses on growing the grass. Growing the grass. Who cares? You can grow grass with water. Why are we so hyper-focused on any nutrients to grow the grass? And the grass grows because that's what's natural. The soil underneath is getting depleted because of what we're doing to the top of it, right? We're changing the root structure so they're not growing deep, they're growing laterally and bunching, and you get all of these different problems that are affected by heat and drought and poor cultural practices, and that's where all our diseases come from. But we didn't see in the turf industry lawn funguses listed as a major problem until the 80s. That was when it was like, oh, we need to start developing all this stuff. Well, there were already fungicides. But now we've gone on a program where lawn care took off in the 70s and 80s, and everybody was just pushing and shoving nitrogen down. Now all of a sudden fungus is a major issue. That's weird. Why wasn't it before? Well, that's because everybody started taking care of things. Now it's worse. It was like one of those, if you left it alone to a point, it wouldn't have been a problem. Right? So that's
just let them know that if they have
what
questions,
we have
we can ask
found
them.
In the last decade is actually the less we do, the healthier everything is. And so we're feeding these sort of micro dosing of everything all the time, this keeping it even and keeping it nice and mellow. And the grass grows thick and not as fast. And then we have a healthier system because everything is being taken into account. So, sort of a long answer to your question. Yeah. So, lateral. Come on in, buddy.
Just let them know that we will be.
Really good. About
just while we have a break right now, I'm going to have a phone on site for you guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to throw it into the comments. We'll go ahead and get the questions over to John. Just have a few of the lawn care community here with us. So,
yes, sir.
So as you guys are, they're just scanning with me. Sorry. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to throw it down into the comments. We are live with John. He's just answering questions, throwing it out for us. Let us know what you guys got. We'll grab the questions and let it know.
Bluegrass? From Texas. I don't know.
That is your preference, John, on what works best up here?
Here? No, not really. I really know. I mean, I just stick with straight up KVG. Everything that came out of Idaho is fine. If it's grown in a similar zone,
Did you put it away already?
That's all you need to know.
See the
And
question.
where a lot of people struggle in other regions, we don't have a lot of options here. I mean, let's face it.
Oh, you're
Maybe
fine.
you could grow some bent grass. You're going to grow fescue. You're going to grow bluegrass. Some people are putting rye out, but why? Bluegrass is easy. It really is. Like it's one of the most simple things that you can possibly do. You put it down, you give it the right amount of water, you give it the right amount of nutrients, you're done. Mow it. It looks good. You know, it's no more complicated than that. You can dig in and get deeper and deeper into, like there was a thing here for a while, I want to say it was in the late 90s, maybe early 2000s, called turtle turf. Is that still around?
I don't know. I remember it being a bigger thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just disappeared.
It grew slow, and that
Super
was
slow. It wouldn't encroach into your flower
you.
beds.
Right.
Like that was the whole thing.
right.
But it was.
Hey Scott, where are you from? And we'll get
People were like,
and
oh,
I'll
I'm
get that
excited
question
about it.
asked
It
to
grew
him.
slow. It didn't require much. It was almost like centipede for us,
Right.
you know, for like a cool season area. So I don't know what happened to it. There's a big push for a
Yeah.
little while, and then it's just gone. So stick to what grows. If you can put a seed of a grass down and it grows, that's probably good. Let's just put it that way, right? Like you don't need to do anything tricky to make something grow here. Really, it's like sun, water, air, soil. And the rest of it we just get in the way of.
I think that's what's amazing about your product is it is so steady and so real and so viable. It's not a number program, and you see it happening just with strength and vigor, and not just like I throw it down and then I have a foot of grass.
Yes.
I see the thickness. I'm like waiting for the color to fade like another product would, and it doesn't. And so I'm getting these long stretches of, well, I want to put something down, but it just doesn't need it. My soil test doesn't say I need it.
Yes.
So I'm doing less and less and less and less. And as on a consumer level, that feels a little abnormal. Because I
is.
want to go to Home Depot and pick up that bag.
Yeah. Okay. So that's funny that you mentioned that, and that is as true as anybody could say it. Because one thing that I've said since I started my company is the more people use us, the less they'll use us.
Right.
Because it works so well, you don't need to keep doing it. So there's kind of a rule, like, this is a little weird to say it, but if you're bleeding, and then you stop the bleeding, you don't keep stopping the bleeding. Why would I keep stopping the bleeding? You get it to a point where you're getting healed, and then it starts to go on its own. Maybe you have to do something else. But we're just taking something that's been missing from the ground, the grass has either never gotten, or hasn't got enough of, or we're encouraging it to uptake things that it couldn't before because we're interfacing it a little bit better, and that's what's making it do what it does. So it's just like there's a door just waiting for the key, and we're just like plugging in every single one to make sure that the code fits, and now it's just going to open and the grass can grow the way it's supposed to.
Right.
So, but it's true, even my professional guys use less and less and less every year, and their lawns are better and better and better. If you hear the stories from the pros that use us, and they're like, I think I put down 0.8 pounds of N last year total instead of the 6 I was doing 5 years ago, like, we don't get callbacks, you know, so it's pretty cool. Yes?
Quick question, on the green effect, how
Yes.
often should they be applying the green effect?
I only ever do that when it's hot.
So that's your go-to
Twice.
for the heat.
Summer, yeah. If it's
Gotcha.
like 90 degrees plus, spray that out, turns lawn green, it'll hold for 6-8 weeks.
So then on the flip side of things, if they are going to use some of these, the nitrogen products, the green punch is gonna be spring and fall?
You can actually run that all season if it's got enough water. That can be a 5 or 6 step every 6 weeks, every 8 weeks. You can just go straight through. In cool season, it works phenomenally.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's kind of a standalone product.
That green punch is?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Has been for years. That was one of the staples 10 years ago.
So as long as it's properly watered in, has enough water when it's
Yeah.
applied and everything?
Yeah, you're only putting out a 1/4 pound of nitrogen
Okay.
every time you do it. So already we're at 25% of what everybody else is recommending. Like that. I've already cut down 75% of nutrient waste just immediately, and you can just run it, and it just keeps going. But it's because it's got iron and sulfur, gas, forms nitrogen, and slow release components, humic, kelp, fulvic. I mean, you've got a component, you've got a buffet, and that's it. So it's easy to use, and it's just, you can just run it, walk out there. Whenever you wanted to do it, that's what's go out there and be like, it's Tuesday, I sprayed this, and you're bored one day. We'll just do it again. We're not going to overdo it.
Right.
So that's kind of a nice thing. It's up to you how much you work in your grass. Yeah.
I'd say mechanical aeration.
Yes.
To me, it does.
Yes.
But I'm just one guy.
Right.
What, I mean, strong.
I got you, Connor. Give me a second.
Oh, it's amazing.
Place mechanization.
Okay. This is a big thing happening right now, and I had the pleasure of standing in front, I don't know, 8 or 9 people who own a very big aeration manufacturing company. So here's the deal. Doing aerations to relieve the problem we're creating with the fertilizer. Okay, so typically in a normal program, like using standard NPK, you're putting a cereal down to harden the ground. Okay, that's one. Number two, you're also training the grass to have its roots not go deep. Shallow happens. Anything under that root be tight. Now, yeah, like it's weak. Okay, we need to aerate. So we mechanically aerate. People say, well, we're going to relieve the compaction. It doesn't relieve compaction, and I'm going to understand exactly what aeration does. If I had a drill right now, and I went through this table, and I just drilled it out in a bunch of holes, it would still be like that. It would just have holes in it. Holes that are going to fill in with something. Now, because we're not putting something else in there to hold the space. You follow me? So, in a golf green, if you aerify a green, you come back through and you put sand through it. That way the water can actually penetrate and it gets down and the roots will grow back into that sand base and smooth itself back out. So that's why you would do that. The problem is, if I poke a hole in here and it's solid, or let's just say this tile floor, and I drill down into it and I just open up a space and I take water and I pour it right here like this, it's going to puddle here and then also puddle in that hole because I haven't done anything to open up the rest of the ground. Follow? When we take, which we're getting 100% dispersion on every 5 inches, you're getting it all the way across. The product is going to start breaking down these tighter minerals that are right there in the surface and opening up the water and the nutrients start dropping through the soil and the roots just open up to it. You get drainage that you never had before because the roots are going down deeper. You're seeing a flush because of all the stuff that's gotten tied up. And you're sending your roots into a place that they've never seen before. And it just like opens it up. And if we can fill the space with roots, how could it be compacted? Because water and air flow together. They have to, right? If I've got a leak in a submarine, my air is going out and there's water coming in. So those two move together all the time. So if we're creating space, mutants are all, they die. You lose 100% of your iron in the soil, stays soft. So we want to keep that process going through organic matter that's free. If we can bring soil, if that's our goal here, and to like you get more roots down, you get your cycle and your clippings better. For every 1% of soil organic matter, you're getting organic matter. Now all we really have to do is get something alive. You don't have to start. You don't have to plant measurement because we're getting the growth to kind of get in the list, keep it green and like. Before I would get calls from customers and say, I'm only going to lawn in 2 weeks after this trip. Yes.
Into this thing, this back theory.
It's alright.
In the fertilizer business as a whole, the NPK program that is out there, what fertilizer companies want you to do is it's like these are the most used, easily soluble stuff to make the plant grow. And the recommended amounts are to the point where if you go a little higher, you're going to kill your plants. So we're working on a law in the general industry. So I base everything on the law of minimums, where you can put down 10 if you don't have enough manganese in the soil, it doesn't do anything. Right? So what we want to do is build up all of those so we get that equilibrium, and you don't have to keep pounding the plant into growing fast. Right? So it is different. It's just the way it is. I mean, like, there's no, I'm not, I can't
It's
cover it up.
refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it almost looks foreign because it just works and it's on this minimum versus this other way. I don't, do you have an idea of how much the EK is average lawn from traditional methods?
It's not necessarily. Now, there's tests that you can do that show lockout, like phosphorus. There's not really a good way to see that. So the soil test is going to test what's available. So when you take a look at a soil test, here's what's available based on your pH range or whatever. Even oftentimes they change your pH to get you what you are. So what's happening right now in the industry is they've stopped testing for soil nitrogen. Just say put 4 pounds out. That's what it says from your turf school. It's 4 pounds. It's like, what if I have more than that in your mouth? Well, I don't care. This is just what you do, right? So there is a sort of sad change that is happening, where a soil test is only for you to go buy more fertilizer. Right? And that's problematic, in my opinion. I don't feel like you really get a whole picture. What's really cool is you can take tissues.
I'm gonna see if I can get Wi-Fi, guys. Hold on.
If you did this and your tissue says your plant is doing great, right? Well, it looks good. Look at it. All you do is stand back and be like, things force. Studies at universities are the exact same damn thing. They go out there every day, they like get their little spectrometer out, and this rating of color. That means it's performing better. It's all done now.
Bear with me for a second, guys.
So
I'm gonna try
you just-
to
you take a
Wi-Fi.
look, you stand back, you say, nope, it's who cares what you say.
Valleys of all the micros and macros. It's more of a, for balance, we're good, whether it's here or here or here.
Sure, so you've got in like a.
Is that any better, guys?
Area basically, there's a bed,
Right.
flower bed?
Yes.
Flower bed. So you have a different cycling that's happening, right? So it's going to have a rate of decay from whatever's on top, and then, whatever the roots are taking in there. Now with grass, we're constantly feeding nutrients back into it via the clippings. Right. So we can maintain the equilibrium, just like your bed that's not getting a lot of draw. Okay.
Right.
So you have to think about, like, if I've got a perennial crop, I don't have to keep sowing the seed back into it. It's just there. Then anything that grows, if I just get it back into the ground and use, then what more do I really need to do? So the problem is we don't use that stuff. That's happening right now. The grass grows too fast, and there's nothing in there to kick on to fire up the furnace and burn through that extra stuff. That's where we run into disease all the time. Professional lawn care, that's where you run into disease. It went too fast, now it's sitting in there, and it's not. We gotta dethatch it. We have to do all this other stuff to try to get rid of it.
Right.
And it's always mechanical. It's always mechanical. The problem with always mechanical is it takes all that stuff that's free, takes it to the dump. Right? And you just stripped out the soil again. That's bad. Right? Like, we want to use that stuff. And honestly, if you have a thatch layer, there's things down here trying to get into the soil. The stuff keeps packing down on top of it. But a good majority of what's up here is going into the atmosphere. You're going to lose 95% of that plant to the air. So the faster we get into the ground, the better. It's like really simple stuff, and we just have to encourage that action. That's all I'm doing, is encouraging a natural action, but I'm making it happen faster.
Okay, so I buy a lot of humate, I work with humate, and I work with other humates. In Utah, a humate comes out of down south somewhere. Not New Mexico. But is there a difference between New Mexico humate and another humate?
Yes. Okay. This is really important for anybody who's studying this stuff. Okay, so you can create a humic acid from any organic acid. It's humus. It's just organic matter. You're breaking acids out of to get that humic acid chain. Now, what is in New Mexico is mineralized shale. That's all restored rainforests. It's like a dirty coal. That's really what it is. It's a light shale that gets everywhere. Okay? There's other places that flood out of peat bogs. Again, it's decomposed. There's just organic matter. They use it. They can extract out of that. The places here, I know there were a couple of places in central Utah that had some, but I don't know what their concentrations were. Right. So depending on how long that area has had to compress and how old the stand was, you get higher rates of active humic acid per pound of humic. Okay. So if we're getting, raw lignardite, it's going to be between 68 and 76% humic acid in dry form. And then we're taking that and reacting it with the solution. Other places might get 38%, 45%, so they have a lot more waste. So we're looking for higher concentrations. And then there's also stuff that comes from clay bogs that people are pulling, like in Georgia, there's a couple of pits that are like that. It can come from anywhere. But we've always focused on this high elevation, what would technically be like a freshwater area. It was never a seabed that killed whatever was there. So that's basically what it is. So yeah, there's sourcing is really important.
How do you know that you're sourcing the best product for you? Just test it, or?
Yeah, so a lot of what we do now at this point, I've been using certain people for a long, long time. When I first started out, it was like anybody else. Like, I need to get a sample of this and that. You give me 20 suppliers. I want to try where they're getting from. And then just see where their sources were coming out of so that I could just go straight to the source and then start doing it myself. So that was part of it. I used help from different sources. I stick with one place because it's the best stuff that's ever been out there, and it's not what everybody has. So, we have something very unique just from that source, plus just relationships. If I stick with somebody, I'm looking for it. So, but it takes time. And plus, we had to perfect our process. So it's one thing to get the great raw material, but if you don't process it right,
Do you feel like, is there anything that you can disclose as far as future products or ideas or expansion or?
Sure. So for me, most of my developments come from problems. So if somebody comes to me and says, hey, I've got this happening, whatever it is, and I hear it and it's from different parts of the industry, I'm like, oh, who knew that this was like a thing out there? So I want to look at stuff that would fix whatever that thing is, right? So me, it's plugging in holes and stuff. And right now, we have, 15, 18 products on the line or so.
Thanks for that plug, Chris.
A bunch of stuff. And what's available to the homeowner is just to boost up what they do, just to kind of plug it in the whole thing. So professionally, we do custom blends and all kinds of things for bigger companies, stuff I put it together. But aside from the granular that's coming out,
That's cool.
yeah.
And this summer, that's cool.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so Alan Hain has put together some cocktails, is what he calls them.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool.
Yes.
They rock. And he rocks and all of that. So you guys will mix. Will you private label and mix something that's custom that?
And it's not painted properly.
Phone overheated. Sorry, guys.
And the anaerobic bacteria work at a much slower pace. So, but it's also in this lack of oxygen area. If we come across with something that's as highly oxygenated as a good reactive humic, then it's just battling that piece and it's encouraging the aerobic bacteria to come back in. That just close that off. That's really all it is. You're just opening it back up to come through and heal itself more than anything else. So it's just encouraging a population to do things. So if there's a low level of oxygen present, anaerobic bacteria take over. They need to do the job of what the aerobic guys do in an area where they can't survive. And so it just takes longer. So as long as we're encouraging that oxygenation, that healing can begin. That's really all it is.
Do you recommend the use of fungicides or not?
Do I recommend them reduce?
No, use.
Use? And you know, I have two very, so this like it. For a professional, if you have a customer, you have to treat the problem. Just treat the problem. As long as you are going to then treat the underlying problem. Okay? Now, I've had guys that have just put out RGS on top of like dollar spot, rhizoc, red thread, rust, and knocked it out. Just because it has the ability to somewhat dry out that fungus because of like K levels, and then encourage aerobic, and then that's it. So oftentimes it may not actually get rid of the fungus, but it will faster to where it's outpacing the fungal infection. So fungicides should be used sparingly, and they should be used on point only, not widespread. Like for two reasons: pocketbook, horrible thing to put out all over the place, and then just because you will decimate any other bacteria that might be beneficial.
Right.
So you know what I do? Just put it on the point.
So how often can you throw down RGS?
You know, honestly, you can do it anytime. You really can. You can throw it at any time of year. What I had, so on the label rate was a 3 to 6 ounce rate. Now I've had guys go, wait, I don't have it, but it's cool. The reason I didn't want anybody pushing that in the summertime or when it was above 85 degrees is the kelp portion of that creates a more rapid cellular response in the plant. Okay, so like similar to 2,4-D, it causes cell explosion. That's what 2,4-D does for the plant. This is growing a plant and it's making the cells move faster. And if it's hot, you create too much stress. So I don't want anybody going out at a high rate in the summer and killing their lawn. I've never seen that happen. It's not a thing, but I don't want it to be an option. So I just recommend do it in the spring and fall. Spring because you're establishing rhythm. Fall again, and whatever nitrogen you're putting down at that time gets used more efficiently. That fall feeding, that winter feeding is what's going to wake the plant up in the springtime. And so it's just moving. Yes.
So we just run through that process again, like in your video, RGS, micro, macro RGS again, and then aerating in the summer.
Yeah, and again, so I will never recommend a product you don't need. So if you say, well, I'm not sure if I really need to put aerate on, I'm like, oh, that's cool, no. Why would you? You don't need it, don't do it. Just, you know, run a program. It's all about the health of the turf. Just put it out. It's like, yep, okay, that's good. There's a few staples that you do want to use because if we can just keep encouraging the root growth and the oxygenation of the soil, those things. The micros are just filling in all the holes in the boat that were there before. That's all that's there. We're just filling in components, locking it in. So then anytime you put nitrogen down, you'll get a better effect. Every time. So that's really all that is.
So Connor Ward says that he's in on your green punch. I'm kind of filling in a couple of things.
Is there? Hey,
Yeah.
He wanted to be here.
Yeah, he's still up in Wyoming. And it looks like Telly Coleman says, can RGS be used on fields meant for animal consumption?
Absolutely, 100%. No problem.
So same thing like with gardens, crops, stuff like that?
Yeah, technically RGS is 100% organic too. I'm just never going to label it that way because I don't want to be that guy.
Gotcha.
I was sent here to ask a question by Travis.
Yeah, where's he?
He just had a baby, whatever, yeah.
Excuses.
Yeah. So, I don't know if it was you, so historically he was doing a split app with the pre-emergent 1 and 2. It was you that's...
Told him to stop doing that?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, because of stunts the growth of the grass.
No, that's not why.
Okay, so
Okay.
he was under the impression that that was why, and then his question was, is that a bad thing? If we're mowing the grass?
It doesn't stunt the grass. Pre-emergent doesn't stunt the grass.
Okay, so I guess what's your reasoning, and then is it a 1 and a 3, or just a 1 hit, full rate?
If a chemical has an attack rate, you follow the label. You can't outsmart the label on a chemical. It's the same thing, like, just everybody needs to understand. If you're gonna use a pre-emergent, you put it down. You get it down, and you either get screwed because of timing or weather, but no matter what, if you put a half rate down, what's it gonna do? What's it gonna do? It's half with you, like, oh crap, I got weeds. Well, I'll put another half down. I was like, okay. Fill the tank up the first time.
So, I guess the reasoning behind it, the reason that he was doing the split was from a simplicity side of things.
Yes.
From the business model that, hey, late signups, you just hit it with round 2, you get that pre-emergent. But you would rather 100%, one, and then after that, so you're gonna have to kind of have 2 tanks on the truck and go back and.
So let's talk about a late application of pre-emergent.
Okay.
Most pre-emergent is designed to get your first sprouting weeds, including like your crabgrasses and stuff. It's the first stuff that comes out when it's cool. If you put a pre-emergent out later, it doesn't even control the stuff that comes out later.
Yeah.
So you're going to be putting down broadleaf no matter what.
Correct.
No matter what. So why waste the money?
Yeah.
Let's just do it in dollars and cents. Why waste the money? Even if it did something, it's still not, it's so much more costly than just saying, okay.
Just throwing a Trimac in there and.
Yeah, like Mrs. Johnson's lawn has some weeds. It's June. Am I gonna put a pre-emergent out? No, I'm gonna kill those.
Yeah.
And then like get this thing healthy. We wanna get it healthy. So, but we can pretty much tell what time of year it is by what weeds are growing right now. Everybody's got spurge. Friggin' spurge everywhere. How much pre-emergent did you put out this year? Does it control those spurge?
No.
No. No, of course not. So what you know, what difference does it make? You're already past the most infuriating ones by that time. Now, what I've been playing with is putting all my pre-emergent down in November. I'm gonna tell you what, it's been fantastic. Yeah, because we get this stupid fall spring here every year. In February, where it's 70 degrees and everything comes up on your grass.
So you're able to have enough residual to make it through your springtime?
So far.
So how
You skipped the spring application?
We didn't do any.
Okay, so crabgrass has been horrible this year.
Drought.
Okay. So have you, with you putting down in November, have you had issues with it as well? No. So pretty much you're the god of lawn care and.
No, just try stuff.
I think we gotta go to John's Lawns and really look at these
Yeah, no,
things.
okay, let's try stuff. I mean,
Okay.
You know, my personal lawn has not had a weed or any weed control in it, ever. Period. No pre-emergent, no broadleaf, no nothing. It's the thickest out, and there's nothing growing down. There are weeds all around it. There should be weeds in the lawn. It has never happened. Figure that out. No, I leave it alone. I leave it alone. That's the difference. Now, in Reno, way back, now we're going 10 years plus, I pulled a tech over from a company. He came to work for me. He wanted all this stuff. I'm like, we're not going to do that. On the second year or third year in the program, I had like 780 clients out there, and we used one 2.5 gallon jug of 240 that year. Only in backpack. Nothing went in the tank. One. That's how quick. It just was like, mom's got it. Like that's what we didn't put it out everywhere. We never ran the risk of stunting any other turf by widespread application of any person. That is a true story.
Okay. So when you say that, you're talking like pre-emergence?
No pre-emergent.
Okay.
Zero.
No
I put no
herbicides,
pre-emergent.
fungicides?
Not one customer got pre-emergent, ever. Never.
That'd be cheaper.
I think about this. I just want, just think about it for a second. Okay, so we've got turf that grows by itself. We leave it alone. It just kind of does its thing. if we put controls out that controls certain things, it has to have an effect on the stuff that's already there. It has to. Some effect is taking place. So if I keep doing that, am I going to weaken the rest of the system enough to where I'm just encouraging more bad things? And then using more controls, and then I just get behind the healthy turf. I'm now behind it. I can't get ahead of all my disease because I'm using so many controls.
Okay, question for you then. So with a growing company, so say you're growing faster, you're growing quick. Say you're
growing fast.
Say you're adding a truck a year, two trucks a year, or whatever.
Yeah.
But okay, so say it takes 2 to 3 years to get that grass to the thickness, or whatever that is. Okay, but the new lawns that you're taking on haven't been in that same process. As far as the, I mean,
How do you handle
simplicity of
it?
the business,
I get it.
yeah.
Okay.
So you have are you wanting 2 tanks in the truck, or what are you saying?
No, like when I take a person on, I put them in the program that's active. They don't get anything special. I don't deviate from what's designed.
Correct.
So, if I get there and they have weeds, I'm going to kill the weeds. But I'm going to now start their lawn on a nutritive program that's going to boost everything up. So that in the future, now, hey, that customer's happy because they see weeds dying. That's important, right? The bottom line of owning a company is result, right? So if you go someplace and you say, okay, today I did fertilizer and weed control, and the person calls you 3 days later and says, nothing's dead and nothing's green. Like, well, I'm pretty sure we did what I just said. You know, maybe there was a failure of the product, maybe the tech didn't do something right. But at the end of the day, all it is that result. Like, yes, I see the weeds dying and I see the grass turning green. To your customer, that's all that matters. So we have to make it as simple on you, as an owner, to just put somebody in the round. If a new customer, Mr. Adams has weeds and he's brand new, right? And Mrs. Johnson is an existing company and she has weeds, are you going to do anything different?
No, so are you saying blanket track, or you're?
I don't like blanketing anything. Now, there are times of years where that's had to happen, where it's like, okay, this is out of control, like last year, because the weather was so screwed up in the springtime, it was just dandelion central, you couldn't kill them.
Yeah.
Because it's cold. But you didn't have a choice either. It's like I had to get out there and blanket spray everything to kill it. So
Yeah, with that being said, like with new customers, I mean, it could be a 15-minute stop, doing an application, and then if you're backpack spraying and it's infested with weeds, at that point, it turns into 3 times the price of, 3 times the cost of doing the job because of the time. I mean, labor is the expensive part.
yes, and honestly, the backpacking part is not for everybody. Trust me. But that's just what I have made my guys. That's what they always did. Like, don't put anything else in the tank that you can put either on the end of your line or in a backpack. I mean, we even did stuff with we would adapt hose-in sprayers to our spray rate, so we could do a concentration of something, because it's the same pressure, it's the same flow rate, and nothing's in the tank. So if I was cruising through, and I did have one person who was new that had weeds everywhere, I could take my little 20-ounce sprayer and just quick clip it to the hose, and now I broadcast Trimac at their place. Didn't get it everywhere else. It's not that hard.
What product is that?
Just a little hose-in sprayer, not like an ortho, but like similar to that, where you just put chemical on the bottom thing and you just quick connect it, take your gun off and quick connect it and go. And in fact, most of those, I don't know if you're aware of this, but on your Lesco green gun, you unscrew the tip, that's a hose fitting. You can put a cup gun right on the end of that thing and spray it with a canister right on the end of it, and it'll restrict the flow to 2 gallons a minute. Like, you know, you carry those extra things. Once techs get used to being able to do that, then you cut your chemical costs down significantly. But it takes a tech. Somebody's got to look. So,
Missed that part. Were you talking about like attaching a hose-in sprayer?
no.
You can watch my feed. It'll all be there.
Where, if you come across something that's like out of control, and rather than like mixing up a whole tank of something, you can just screw on a hose and sprayer to the end of your Lesco gun. Like, just spray it, just go spray. Fits. We used to do, like, I had a guy in Nebraska that would buy those 99-cent brass tips, the old hose ones that you can up into a fan and stuff, they're 99 cents an ace. And he would be on the property, and because we didn't put any chemical in the tank, we treat trees and shrubs with the same mix. So he would just like, put that thing on, he could spray like 35 feet with his little Lesco gun, and then like open it up and miss. 99 cents. Not a new gun. Just in the pocket. Spray the trees and shrubs. Double lap, didn't go back to the truck, never changed my mix. Simplify. But equipment, there's so many ways to make this where it's like profitable and easy, and all it takes is just like think slightly outside the box. I mean, not even much. That's not much thinking outside the box. That's just like, I want to spend money on chemical. Here's a good way to do it.
So it's a lot faster than backpack spraying the whole lawn after the fact and so forth.
Super easy. I've been trying to convince a buddy of mine to build an adapter for a JD9 gun where we could actually have pre-filled canisters and just like a paint gun and just knock stuff out, and you have just a rack of those in the truck. 248, crack. You got fungicide, crack. You just stick that thing on there and go. Nobody's done it yet. There you go. If anybody's watching, I just gave you $1 million idea.
Do you have a lot of, oh, sorry.
There you go first.
Do you have a lot of guys that are using those guns that have just multiple
Yes.
hoses that run right up to the gun?
Yeah,
I can't remember what they're called.
uh,
'Cause I was looking at doing something like
Rigs.
that.
whatever they're called. Yeah. The Eco 505. Yeah, that's gotten more and more common. For people who are running like, you know, have the setup to do that. You know, a lot of the guys I deal with multiple drop tanks and big, bigger spray trucks and stuff like that. But, those setups with the injection lighter, right?
Right, because then you could run grub control, or you could run whatever you kind of wanted to run during those. So those, I just never looked into it to see if that's.
Everybody I know that has something loves it. It's just a heavier hose. Get used to pulling around something a little bit bigger because it's inside the line. But they work really well, and once you get used to having that double trigger on there, so you can get the weeds flare out.
Does it have to be is that a 1-inch line or is that 3/4 still? Or?
It's like 3/4. They have a 1/4-inch line inside of it, so you don't sacrifice flow, and then you have the second line is inside, so it's just. Anyway, I know it's the Eco 505, but I can't think of what the name of the company is right now. Great. Anyway, yes, sir.
Are you opposed to insect control?
I mean,
Didn't you watch his video
again.
from his truck?
Oh,
Yeah.
Sure.
What's that? Kill his bees and everything. So again, no, I am not. I'm actually not opposed to any control if it's done correctly, responsibly, and not just all the time. Okay? So if you have an outbreak of something, you're probably not going to take the time to go, oh, you got mole crickets, cool. I know what kills mole crickets. Ibis. So you're going to go capture a bunch of birds, and then you're going to go put them on the lawn, and like, you kill those. No, you're going to kill the freaking bugs.
Just barely.
And then make the lawn healthy. So, no, I'm not opposed to it, but don't do it on everybody. So that's one thing that happens a lot with lawn care professionals. Like, you see, you're out on a route one day, you have 25 stops, 2 of them have something wrong, then you get all panicky, and you put all that chemical into every tank for the next 300 stops. It's costly. That is a bad way to do things.
Matt Martin says, sit down.
He knows I talk better standing on this.
Yeah, he says you're not as tall as that door frame. You got to grow a little.
So that's
Tony Robbins looking ass.
Yeah, so no, just watch it. Use it as it's supposed to. Don't overdo it. Don't do it on everybody. Don't forget about it. Yeah. That's it. Knock it out, move on.
See if I can get
Yes,
this.
sir.
Probably this would probably be a good question, probably one for the contractors. I'm just a homeowner. I do have 30,000-foot lawn. Secondary water is alkaline. I do believe Monday I get my first application.
Right.
I think that's probably going to slow or do the best I can. But with the secondary water, you know, obviously, you have any recommendations on what you've seen in Utah for that? And I think that'd probably be more important for a contractor. So many people using secondary water. It is, water's getting extremely expensive here in Utah.
Yeah, well, everybody's gonna be metered before too long. They're gonna sort of start cutting it out. That like $100 a year for water is just gonna go away. The problem that we've got is, it depends on the time of year what's coming through the hydrant, okay? And if it gets too alkaline, every time you water, you dehydrate. What are you supposed to do with that? So, salt food in the soil, they move with water, okay? And oftentimes you're trying to, if you flush, you're trying to flush. So, if you have enough space in the soil, if there's enough of an opening and you've created enough for water to move through, you can get it out of the system faster while the roots are taking up what it can. But whenever you have a higher alkaline and higher salt content, that takes moisture away from roots rather than allowing it to go in. So it's a drying effect. Really, depending again on what you're feeding the lawn is what this is going to come down to. So products like the 1801, even like 901, some of these other things are such low pH, microgreen, 700, it'll offset a lot of that. You know, 700 is a 1.8 pH. It's acid. And one of the reasons it works so well is because the plant just takes it up like that. So putting that out can help to buffer it because of the sulfur content and everything else that's in there, and just keep the salt flushing.
Hades story?
I just gotta throw in, if you don't mind me saying, day 4, Monday, I did 700, dethatch, aerate, I'm missing one here, RGS.
Yeah.
And I used 60 gallons of water to lay it down correctly. Yesterday, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Initial application, left it on the lawn for about 2 hours before I watered it. That one I was freaking out about. You did answer that question later that night on YouTube. Thank you. And I saw no spotting or anything, nothing. Lawn this morning was friggin' phenomenal.
Awesome.
Phenomenal.
Hot. That's always good.
I noticed something a little different, and maybe you can answer this question. I noticed this odor smelled kind of like pine salt. So,
That was your neighbors.
people, there's no pine trees around, they're all dead, so I'm out the river.
So, I'll tell you something.
Is there a chemical, something that could be happening here?
You, and maybe you.
Pine sol or citric acid? That's
Yeah,
something
so
that
most
it's-
people smell the
it's something
citric acid
orange.
that's in the 700. It's got kind of a sweet,
Okay.
and it's different things to different people. It's really funny
Okay.
because to me, I smell Chinese food. I don't know, I just do. Like, it smells like
You're spraying.
Spraying
You
Chinese
know,
food all
cheap.
day.
I don't know what it is, but everybody kind of has a different.
It was pleasant, you just remind me of pine salt a little bit. Monday, I still remember the smell of iron.
Right.
And, on that, and you need to be very careful when you're mixing stuff, because it can be messy. That's right.
Yeah, I personally like the approach of not doing everything at once like that. That's just me. People do what they want to do. I don't care. I'm not gonna stop you. But I would rather say, okay, I've got 4 products here. I'm gonna go ahead and do this one, and then since it's my house, then I'm gonna be out here. I'm gonna, have my nighttime beverage. I'm gonna go put another thing. I'm gonna go spray that one tonight. But you have 30,000 square foot lot. You're probably not doing it. There's a few people in here that would be more than happy to bid that for you to take care of it.
I will.
So, but anyway, I get it, and if I had a sprayer, right, like if I had a little boom sprayer or something, I would totally mix them all together. But for most people, they're either putting it in a backpack or they're putting it in the hose end. It just doesn't make sense. If you take some of these concentrates and put them together, they go, they make a mess. So, keep that in mind.
I'm like, I almost can't wait to go home tonight and see what's going on.
When did you spray it? Did you spray it in the backpack?
I did, well, I actually got a 12-line sprayer off my 4-wheeler.
Yeah, so
Oh, okay.
So, I got another 15-gallon one recently I bought a 4.5 gallon battery one. I'm very impressed with that, by the way.
That's that Chapin?
It wasn't Chapin.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Chapin,
Sprayers Plus?
something along those lines.
Is it green?
No, it's black, white, something brothers, something I got off Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
Very impressed with that for $130.
Two sons or.
Battery less, and anyway, I was able to do all that, and, but the downfall from pulling a four-wheeler on it, I don't like the tracks it leaves.
See, people love their lawns, I'll tell you what. I want you to lay down. Stand up.
Well, it doesn't track with,
Yeah.
the lawnmower
I
line.
get it. Yes, okay.
Yeah, can you make your product
Let's
not
see.
so messy? My truck just,
Nope.
it's just, man, I gotta
Can't do it.
it takes a day for it to be all covered in chocolate.
Just, occasionally, you know, you can run aerate, it'll clean out everything on the inside. So spray it down with Lysol, clean everything right off. Works so well. That is the most unbelievable hack of all time. Go ahead, repeat what you said.
Lysol.
Yeah, the Lysol toilet bowl cleaner is the most dominating cleaner for anything fertilizer and chemical related, including rust. Magnesium stains, you name it. It works on everything.
Like, I mean, every once again, I just take it, it goes down on something, and it's just, and it's like $3 a month.
What are you spraying it with?
I just tell you that like on the tanks, for instance, you just take a bunch of it's glue, so you put it on there, give it a little like smear it around and wipe it off. Spray it off. It's awesome. It's unreal. Like I mean, people have taken wood siding, vinyl, concrete. I mean, you name it. They just it works. Save companies tens of thousands of dollars, like $4 worth of Lysol.
Hades story? Makes sense to you?
Who what?
Hades story?
Hades?
Let me go back to it, sorry. Yeah, well, we're talking about, sorry, Matt, I'm trying to find it. Cosmo, he's talking about Cosmos, he's asking you what you're drinking. Can't tell you online, he's in Utah.
Actually, this is a very special drink that I recently discovered. I mix kombucha and vodka together.
I believe it's, yeah, he's saying the Hades story, is he not? Let's see, hold on.
Oh, no.
No.
Not gonna do it.
He says he won't do it,
Not
man.
gonna do it. It's inappropriate.
Yeah, I've got a family type channel, man. Come on, man.
I can't do that.
Come on, you
I used
guys.
that once to sell some product. and it worked.
Did it really?
Okay.
Let's see. 002 with. Sorry, gotta flip through it. Can run 002 with the dethatch on herbicide damage or just dethatch?
Start with the detach.
Okay.
Just to start to break up the ground and throw the 002 in to help kind of encourage other things to happen. So just go ahead and hit it first. If you watch the detached video that was just posted that I did, I know Seagraves took that through a herbicide damaged lawn and that's recovered it for just detached, nothing else, no other nutrients. So all of that regrowth just came from the detached.
Nice. Okay. To water in or not to water in microgreen?
Water is the ruler of the roost. If you can water, then water. Like, go ahead and get stuff in the ground. 90% of what's going out of our products needs to be in the soil. There's only a portion of it that the plant can absorb on that motor. So we're getting part foliar uptake. The rest is interfaced in the soil. Get into the soil. You don't have to, but eventually it's going to have to get in. So if you can, water. Not required.
I don't know it's your area. I'm just telling you.
No, that's really interesting to see, so.
How often can you apply microgreen?
Every week. So. Yeah. But low rate. So we did find a maximum rate, and this is really important. There is I'm not going to call it a soil toxicity issue, but it's a locking issue that will happen if you constantly apply microgreen. You can create a soil issue that will stunt the grass because there's too much. So if anybody's looked at that product, Fiesta, which is highly concentrated iron that kills weeds, just think about that as you're loading in these like metallic nutrients, that are not necessarily soluble. They can get to a point where it stunts the turf because there's too many, there's too much, and that can become a problem. So we found that like a top end on, so like 002 is about 15 gallons an acre a year. That's where it starts to be a problem. The cool thing is, here's the fix. You stop feeding it 002, and then you just give it nitrogen, and all of a sudden everything like flips back around, because now we've created an excess of all this stuff, and we haven't done enough of this thing, so we're gonna bring this back up, and get it back in equilibrium. Now you're off the races.
John, for the average DIYer,
Yes.
I deal with a lot of basic DIY guys.
Yes.
I mean, when Allegheny starts talking, they gloss over. How do we get the benefits of your product to them? I mean, I'm talking on the basic level, they hate mixing, they don't want to hear 3 ounces of this and 6 ounces of this. They won't even get the concentrate of Weed B Gon and pour that and mix that because they're scared to do it. So how do we get the benefits of your product to them?
So that is a really good question. Now, one thing about a lot of the stuff that's being applied, and I sometimes test like these max thresholds in my own place, but I'm not getting it any nitrogen this year. I'm just letting it be with all this other stuff. If I have 1,000 square feet of turf and I have a 32-ounce ortho sprayer, chances are I'm going to fill that thing up with concentrate and just walk it and do the whole thing. That's fine. Now, I'm going to say this. I want everybody to understand this. There is a rate for a reason. There is a rate where you get technically what would be considered diminishing results based on over-application. There's a point to where it just doesn't do any good. So if I've got a 21-gallon gas tank in my truck and I put 30 gallons in it every time, I'm not doing any good, right? So just, people need to understand that. And there's not a good way to do that, because the average person thinks if some is good, more is better. That's just a human response. That's just how it is. So we do have to educate, and that's again why I said I don't want just a bottle on a shelf with an orange apron trying to sell it, or not try to sell it. They're just there. Be like, I've never heard of that stuff, or you're in the wrong aisle, or let me call Tim. We need to educate. That's what all these guys who have these channels are doing. Is we're getting the message out of the education piece. Otherwise, nobody's going to buy this stuff anyway. If somebody watches this and they say, "Well, I don't want to do that," they're not going to buy it. Sure. So we kind of rule it out a little bit. Like we're gonna kind of thin that margin of error.
I think the granular product will go a long way.
It will.
People are not intimidated by granular.
No. That will, and we'll be working on how we're going to get that out there. But putting like a 25-pound sack in a box and then shipping it, now that's going to do a lot of ground for a homeowner. That could do, say, 10,000 square feet, let's say. But if it's $50, sure. I don't feel comfortable with doing that. This is kind of going back to the things you were saying. Like I have a threshold where I feel okay, and when it starts to go above that cost-wise, I'm like, as a consumer, I wouldn't do that. I'd be like, well, I mean, I'm sure it's good, but it's $9 over here for whatever I'm going to put out. So that's, from a business standpoint, I won't put things out that are going to be cost prohibitive to anybody.
Okay. This kind of goes for the pros that actually use this product. Who do I have here that do? In your programs, how have you implemented it? Do your techs go out there and look at the yard and say, okay, I need an application of RGS, or I need an application of this, or is it part of your programs that have been there already?
Yeah. These guys have the horrible pleasure of having me show up every now and again and pump a bunch of stuff into a tote, and they're like, "What's in there?" I'm like, "It's just some stuff."
Yeah.
I just grabbed it from a bunch of these things, and we're gonna put it out, and here's what's in there. It's this, and this. Just go at this rate.
Your preferred method is go out and look at your yard and see what's going on with it and then apply it accordingly.
Me?
Yeah.
Or if I was a homeowner?
Sure.
Yeah, okay, so, yes, I look at it, and if it doesn't look dark enough, if it looks dry, if it looks whatever, if it looks weeds, that's how you do it. Sure. Like, okay, I see this, I do this, right? So yeah, everything is, you don't need a soil test to know that your grass is healthy. You need it when you have a persistent problem you can't figure out. That's when you need it. That's when you go to the doctor. Like, this won't heal. Sure. Gotta go somewhere now. I've done everything I know to do, now I gotta go somewhere. So I'm gonna get this, right? So that's, you have to think about it that way. Most plants will tell you, just looking at them, that there's a problem. Just like the little kid.
Yeah, with being on his product, you know, if I pull up to a new home that's just looks terrible, or you know, it's got some type of disease, or it's got, you know, grubs or other pest issues going on, you know, I'm gonna put down pretty much what's in my tank. You know, what John has mixed is going to definitely help. You know, most lawns in Utah, a lot of our soils are fairly depleted. There's not a whole lot there anyways, you know, so I'm gonna start with that. He's kind of providing a great base.
Yeah, that's your lawn. I took that picture when I
That
was
is my lawn,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, it's in the neighborhood.
I'm the only one in my old neighborhood with a lawn, so I stand out.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, so if we pull up to a lawn, we're gonna treat using his products, but we're also gonna diagnose
So we
what
can-
else is going on. And then that comes, you know, that's on us as a lawn care professional to figure out, oh, they have a disease, well, I'm gonna treat it with this.
I think it's kind of like what you said, yeah, so you stick to the main program, but then if there's weeds with that, if there's.
Yeah, then it's up to us to figure it out after that.
So, but 95% of that.
Season after season, are you doing the same program on this one?
So I, with professional customers, at first, when people are new to me, I do a lot of the work for them as far as the mixes that are being provided until they are understanding of what's going on, and then they order what they need because now they understand it. But I take a lot of things into account, like if it was a light winter, if it was a heavy winter, if it's a wet spring, if it's a dry spring, if it's 100 degrees for 2 weeks, if it's 80, I take everything into account before I give something to go out of the right. Because we want to make sure there's no plant damage of any sort, and that it's going to get the most optimum result based on what we're seeing from Mother Nature. So I do that for them. And like there's quite a few people that call me, they've been customers of mine 5 or 6 years, and say, okay, what am I running next month? And we walk through like a quick 5 questions, like, okay, what's your rainfall? Is it hot? How's everything looking? Oh, it's looking great. Okay, then let's run with like a low something for this next round. Great. Send me however much I need. And we just work through a little quick process. But I mean, I rely on Mother Nature, right? Like, that's what I'm counting on. So I will have a product that works really well when it's dry and hot. Then I'll have a product that works really well when it's wet and hot, or wet and cold. Yes. Okay.
A different question. Sorry.
Similar. No.
No,
Not even close.
No,
Let's
yeah,
skip that. All right, go.
Do you see any threats coming with government regulations on herbicides, like where Canada has gone away from all that stuff? Because,
Yeah.
He doesn't use them, he's not threatened.
Yeah. Let me put it this way. The United States is a different animal.
as well.
Water restrictions for sure.
Okay.
That's going to happen. It happens all the time. There's a drought, we have water restrictions. Correct. Chemicals are different. Now, what happens in the United States is something really good comes along, and it works really, really well. And then they find out some side effect that's not so pretty, and then it's just banned. Whatever that one is, we just ban that one. And that's it.
Except for our food.
So Canada has taken it. I mean, there's 2 guys that work in their Ministry of Agriculture there. I'm pretty sure it's like Bob and Dave, the 2 guys that run the whole place. And you know, they have enough on their plates. I think they just cancel stuff so that they don't have to work harder. It takes 5 years. I mean, I don't know. I've talked to those guys a couple times. Like nothing happens fast.
So you're saying there's 2 guys that
2 in the whole country. They just come to the office, like, hey Dave, I think we need to go do this. Like, man, let's do something else today. Like, yeah, right. No, but I think that what's happening for chemical companies here in the U.S. is a lot of stuff is becoming more effective. Okay, but we're having a hard time transitioning from a professional side of saying, you know, I can buy 2,4-D for whatever, $65 for a 2.5 gallon, whatever it's going for.
Or I can buy this other stuff, a gallon for $300. Now I'm putting less out, but then when I do the math on it, am I really getting a value here? So they're upping the efficacy of stuff. It's starting to work better, and they're changing so that we're not seeing herbicide resistance. That's important. It's one thing that you can bank on is if you do the same thing every time, eventually it's going to stop working. That's part of having that variation of filling stuff in. So, I don't know that we'll ever see bans. Certain areas will, that are more, I'm gonna say uneducated. There, I said it. Okay. People who are fear-based and not educated are going to make regulations that don't work.
So, and as far as drought perspective, do you see a lot of people going more towards the zero scape?
20 years ago, I did.
You didn't?
I did. We were in that 7-year drought here where it was like horrible for a long time. Everybody was ripping everything out. Big, huge beds. When I was working at the nursery, it was like cutting out half the lawns and putting in mulch beds all over the place.
There's been lots of studies saying that as far as your water consumption's more when you go to the zero scape because of
Depends.
yeah.
It really does. Okay, so all of that stuff, you've gotta be in a neutral zone to digest it. Because, I could right now tell you, every single person in here, that water is bad for you. Just for you personally, it's very bad for you. If you have too much of it, you'll die. If you sit in it too long with your head under it, you're gonna die, so water is bad for you. Follow?
Got it.
You have to keep a very neutral perspective when you're digesting that stuff. Because, okay, so at my house, the house I bought, the guy planted 300 trees. I mean, it's ridiculous. I hauled out like 60 of them when I moved in. I live on the side of a sagebrush mountain. And he boxed this place in. And then he watered the snot out of them. Like all the time. He's like, I'm like 30 minutes a station, there's 12 stations watering trees. Just drowning these things every day. And I get there and I cut out half of that system. Like, I'm not gonna give these things anymore. Now they get 3 minutes a week. They're healthy as hell. They all had disease. All of them. When I moved in, I was cutting out dead stuff like crazy. I had limited it to what our actual environment would give those trees if they were natural, and they're doing better. Yes, there's those types of things where we just get to adapt to this like really crappy, easy way of doing things. Like I hate sprinkler systems. I have them, I use it, but I wait until I know I'm gonna be traveling, and then that thing is on. Or if I know I'm not gonna have time to go out there and monitor what's happening, I would rather turn my sprinklers on and then go sit in the hot tub for 30 minutes, and then when I get out, I turn it off. Then have it come on at 6 o'clock every morning. Because I'll get a better net result by seeing that it needs it rather than just having it happen. But you can't do that professionally. As a homeowner, you could, but again, how much time do you have? All the time in the world. This guy can be out there all day. Hammock, that's true.
Connor Ward
I
himself.
water based on need, not every day or whatever.
Okay, who's homeowner here?
Okay.
90% of the room.
So answer this, how do you get away from it?
How do you get away from it?
Watering.
You can't get away from it.
Like,
You can't get away from
I'm
it.
trying to get away from watering every day.
Oh, you shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
Okay, general rule of thumb for irrigation,
In Utah?
minutes, not days. Add minutes, not days. If you're having to water every day and your lawn is weak, you are not ever giving it enough. You are starving it for water. So what you would rather do is say, when you go home tonight, how big's your lawn?
7,000 square feet.
7,000 square feet. How long are you watering on a station right now?
Like 12 minutes.
Not even close. You are killing it with kindness. You are saying, you're just like butter knife to the vein, hoping that eventually, no. So you need to go heavy at least once, okay? And probably your ground is dry enough that you're gonna have to go heavy 2 or 3 times. fill the bucket,
Yeah.
and then you can go softer. But you should be watering, I mean, if you ran, say, 30 minutes on there right now, it's gonna make a big difference
Yeah.
if you did that every other day. But if you did it like 60 minutes tonight, you should be able to skip 2 or 3 days, do that again real quick, and then get on it.
Because it looks amazing, but I'm spot water because of the heat.
Well, yeah, so here's what you've got going on. Your roots are at the surface.
Yeah.
You are basically treating that like a koi pond. You're like, have some food, and then phew, everything comes to the surface and hangs out up there. We don't want that to happen. We need it to track with the water, so you have to let it dry out. So the roots go like, oh no, like head towards where it's cool.
Yeah.
But you haven't saturated your ground yet. You haven't hit that level, so you have to do that. And then you'll get away from it.
Yeah.
So the first house I ever bought was not far from here, in like 2003, and I had a little share of a creek. It was just off of, it's like 9th in Sugar House over here. And I put a sump pump in there, and I only had water Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Put my sump pump in there, I ran a little sprinkler out that could only get like, this much area, and I would set it, and I would move it about my lawn, and I would give it everything like an hour circuit. Just moving around. I got to the point where I only did that once every 2 weeks. Here, in the summer, and it was green, because the water percolated correctly and I allowed it to stress out. And the roots, I dug in there was this flagpole one time, and it was like, I decided to rip this thing out. It was like a sea captain lived there or something, and like he made the flagpole out of wood himself. And I was in just digging, and just digging, and I dug, and I dug, and I dug, and I dug, and I got 6 feet down in the most rich topsoil, and I could see my grass roots down in this thing like this. Right over here. Right over here, like 2 miles away. And it was unreal. And I dug that thing out. I literally, it was a 6 foot deep hole, and then like yanked it out with my truck. Oh my God, I have this awesome hole, and I planted a tree in it. That tree is huge. Oh my gosh. So you just have to treat things a little different, but an everyday system is never good. So back it up, flood it, make sure it's getting in there. Check your depth, make sure you're getting it down in there, 6 inches, fill the pan. And then you're gonna get off of water and cut, you're gonna see a savings. So, stress it out a little. And wait to start watering. Now, there's 2 things that we can do here to trick grass, like especially early on. If you want to have the greenest grass on the block first,
Do that.
you turn your sprinklers on before you're supposed to. Because the water coming out of the ground is going to be warmer than what your ground temperature is, and you're going to warm it up, and you're going to have green grass.
And then.
But you set yourself up for a very crappy looking lawn in the summertime. That's the problem. So the longer you can wait before you turn it on and let it get some natural rainfall, and it kind of goes like a little bit stiff looking. Oh man, you'll coast right to the heat. No problem. I don't think I started watering mine until May 15th. May 20th maybe this year is when I started. Otherwise, I didn't turn on my sprinkler system, nothing was on, I just left it. No, actually, I almost early June. It hasn't been that long, I barely had it on this year. So.
The grass does give you a running system. There's that first day here in Salt Lake where it's just a little darker or spotty, looks like I have a shadow on it.
Yes.
Next day it's more lit.
Yes.
Third day it's like really dry.
It's a grayish look.
Yeah.
Of something that's drying up. I am dehydrated.
You get a lot of warning. And you
Yes.
can get to that pretty far gone point.
Yep.
And you just can. You can push it. And then it,
Stands right back.
yeah.
The second you cool it off, so much is temperature in the soil. So much there. One of the best things that we do is the water coming out of the tap at 58, 62 degrees, somewhere in that range, whatever it might be, you cool off the soil profile. We have cool season grass. Cool season grass likes to keep it right now. It can be 100 degrees outside, but if we just give it that little bit of watering to cool it off, it stays healthier longer.
So what are you saying, irrigate in the middle of the day?
Oh, I do all the time.
I saw that video,
Yeah.
and everybody screamed and we
Oh, yeah.
all, yeah.
It works
Amazing.
I imagine. The city does it all the time. They work
Yeah,
with-
they do. The city does it. They're like, you shouldn't do it. We're going to.
Yeah, but what about a quick 10-minute shot during the middle of the day just to cool down?
Love it. Great thing to do. All you do is slowing down bacterial reproduction. Okay? When it starts to get hot, more soil bacteria take off. That means it puts more stress on the plant. It's looking for food, right? So you get these microbes that are multiplying faster the warmer it gets until you hit that stage where you kill them, which is 212 degrees. Hopefully that never happens on the lawn. But it's like 85, 90, 95. If we cool them off, we slow that process back down a little bit. Just slow them down so that it's not hunting and pulling energy away from the plant. Because when you put nitrogen out, 30 to 40% of your N is just feeding soil bacteria. The thing, you're going to the plant. So they're going after the food supply. So if we let their populations get too high, it's going to look like the plant is malnourished because it is. It's been, their food source has been sucked away. So that's one of the reasons that I'm not a big fan of adding more microbes. There's no reason to. Heat does that for you. We actually want to keep them chilling out a little bit. So, think about that. Just picture it just like you. If you were mowing the lawn when it was 100 degrees out.
Hey guys, just really quick, my phone's about to die, so if you guys have any questions that you'd like to throw to John before we go, let me know. I'm gonna cut this feed off at about 80 to 81 minutes of live time. I'm underneath 15 minutes left, so I apologize guys. I had a full battery when I walked in, but it's been sucked down, so if you have any questions, throw it in there. If not, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here in the next couple of minutes.
Question, what are you live on?
What am I live on? On my channel, The Greener Lawn. Yeah, it's self-promotion. And I've been getting a lot of questions about you. Are you the do my own guy?
I am.
Sweet! You're right, Chris Voigt, you're right. Yeah.
Yes.
RGS is probiotics for the soil.
No, don't say that. That's actually
Bad
slogan
telly.
for another company.
Ah,
So no,
bad telly.
no, I wouldn't say that. No, honestly, it has nothing to do with probiotics. It's an interface. It's just an interface. It helps to stimulate the roots. It helps to start working the soil, and it gives any nitrogen that you're feeding it some carbon to bind to slow down how fast it gets used up. It just works. It's a multifaceted item that way. It's not probiotics.
That was pretty definitive.
That is a trademark item of another company.
Any questions, guys, before I let him go? I actually have food on the table. We have him. He's right there. He's live for you. Nothing?
Good.
All right. Even blind squirrels find a nut once in a while.
Is that Matt Barton?
No, but it's Chris Voigt. They kind of go hand in hand.
Yes.
You're the best, John Pinkerton. Okay, that answers Telly's question. Grass Factor's yelling out Telly, but he doesn't want to say anything. Matt, do you want to say anything quick? All right, guys, I'm going to actually enjoy this. Hearts in Haiti, hearts in Haiti. Yeah,
That's a story for another time.
yeah, all right.
Any other, yes?
So right now on my lawn, I have a.
I'm Jeremy of the Greener Lawn, guys. Make her green.
Just want to kill it. Just like third down.